conflict in the northwest frontier region of Pakistan has led to a mass movement of internally displaced persons to safer surrounding districts. In response, the government of Pakistan, with assistance from humanitarian agencies, set up over 20 camps all over the province to accommodate and provide assistance to IDPs. The biggest of all was Jalazai camp, which at its peak hosted over 100,000 individuals, majority of them were women and children. Amongst basic necessities of life, like food, clean water, and basic health facilities, the importance of firewood cannot be denied for these IDPs. The internally displaced persons living in camps need to get firewood along with all the basic necessities of life. Access to firewood is not an easy task, which affects the routine life of internally displaced persons, especially children, in a big way. It is important to mention that generally it is observed that in IDP families, the duty to collect the firewood is assigned to the children and women in the family. The lives of the children are adversely affected by this duty assigned to them by their parents. The children are unable to receive education because they don't have enough time to attend to schools. Besides children's education, it puts children and women at higher risk of being exposed to dangers outside the safety of their home environments. It creates hard labor for them involving miles of journey to collect firewood, which will last only a day or two. The IDP children and women spend most of their time in collecting firewood from fields and lands around their camp. The owners of these fields and lands often tend to scold and punish these children, which often results in a violent dispute. Smoke is extremely injurious to women's health. Besides the utensils turn black, fire gets wasted. Single dish is prepared at one time. More firewood is consumed, and fire directly gets on the face and excess of smoke in the kitchen due to cooking on 3 stone stoves.
As our area lacked in grass, shrubs and wood, the children had to go to the mountains in the morning to collect firewood and return in the evening. We faced a great difficulty due to the old oven because it emitted a lot of smoke and caused great irritation in the eyes. In addition to cough, I also experienced breathing problems.
To overcome the situation, it is required that either IDPs be provided with firewood or 2, the consumption of firewood be optimized. This brings forward the need to provide some relief to the IDP families to bring ease to their lives. Finding a solution was not an easy task. In the spirit of bringing ease to the lives of these IDPs who already had seen so much difficulties in their lives, the International Rescue Committee started a multi-step program. It solicited experience from other countries in the region, experimented different cooking stove designs which suited local requirements, and identified best cooking practices to minimize firewood consumption. The culmination of these efforts by the IRC led to an improved firewood stove design which would require only 50% of the firewood, as the flame will be distributed between the fire spots. In summary, the IRC efforts can be divided into 2 distinctive steps. Firstly, collaborate with the community on training and awareness raising on best practices in cooking and usage of firewood for efficient utilization of fuel and firewood, providing efficient firewood cooking stoves and common household heat preservation utensils. The IRC field team finalized a stove mold based on parameters such as cost, availability, acceptability, and mobility, and then tested it on site in camp. The proposed stove has 2 cooking spots with 1 fire intake and chimney, making it energy efficient as the single fire intake can be used for cooking on both burners. The stove is made of iron movable mold and mud, and it is fixed at a specified location. Mud provides good heat insulation, keeping the stove burning for longer periods. At the time of their return, IDPs can dismantle the stove and transport it to the other locations for reuse. Some salient features of these stoves include: these stoves reduce the expenditure on fuel by 50%. The stoves reduce poisonous gas emissions. The smoke is emitted through a built-in chimney pipe and is released outside the kitchen. Thus, there is a less blackening of cooking utensils and walls. It can be easily transported. It ensures an even flow of heat. It is cost efficient and simple to construct. It is time efficient and carries several health benefits. Provision of efficient cooking stoves would have been ensured success. With this in mind, as first step, the IRC sets out to raise awareness among IDPs about fuel efficiency and to build their capacity through trainings. For each training session, the IRC invites 1 female member from each family and conducts the training session regarding fuel efficiency and dissemination of knowledge about best cooking practices. The second step involved the provision or construction of fuel-efficient stoves. This is then followed up by a monitoring visit to the trained households to ensure proper use of the taught techniques. Along with this, IRC also provides fuel-efficient utensils like thermoses, hot pots, etc., which help IDPs to keep their cooked food hot and preserve heat, thus further minimizing the need to ignite a new fire. Stove is made up by mixing ordinary oily clay with water. For making good mud, it requires oily clay and water. Formation of 1 stove requires 5 small tubs of clay. For making mud, water is mixed up with 3 tubs of clay, 3 or 4 hours before working. The quality of stove depends on the quality of mud and water mix. The mud and water mix should neither be very thick nor too thin, but just normal. For better quality, the mud should be kneaded by hands or through feet. After making of mud, big cylinder will be placed inside the mold. Then small cylinder will be put. The distance between big cylinder and small cylinder is 4 inches, while the distance between small cylinder and chimney is 6 inches. Cover sheet in the intake place. After placing of all these, it's time to put mud inside the mold. After 3 hours, our stove is ready.
The old oven emitted much smoke, but the new earthen ovens that have been given to us protect our eyes from the smoke. Now we are healthier and our expenditure on firewood has also been reduced. In the past, the children went to the forest to fetch firewood, but now they go to school. While only 1 thing could be cooked at a time on the old ovens, the earthen ovens now provided to us by IRC can be used to cook 2 things simultaneously. And the IRC provided pots also keep the curry hot from morning till evening.
The combination of new fuel-efficient stoves and community awareness sessions has resulted in greater household savings among the IDPs. More importantly, it has freed the children from a rigorous chore and allowed them time to attend schools.
In the past, when we went to the forest to fetch firewood, most often the people would thrash us. Now we go to school and we are very happy.
IRC team follows up and conducts surveys to find out the impact of these sessions. This program proved to be a great success in achieving advantages like firewood fetching rate dropped from 27% to 15%. Enrollment of children in school increased. Ensured a clean cooking environment. In short, there has been observed a marked difference in per-day income and expenditure of firewood after these interventions. IRC team is still providing fuel-efficient stoves to IDP families.
Our old
oven had 3 legs. The air would keep the flame moving from one side to the other, and the pot did not receive the heat constantly. Resultantly, we had to spend more money on the firewood. Then IRC representatives arrived, who said that they could build for us a better type of oven, if we wished to have one. We said that it would be marvelous if you give us something that can reduce our firewood expenditure and also ensure proper cooking. Then they imparted us training in building such an oven. Initially, they built these earthen ovens and thereafter provided us the stoves, which have drastically reduced our expenditure.
Giving follow-ups to ensure that IDPs are being benefited without any difficulty in spreading this approach. Now, the children have more time for their studies and games as well. IDP families enjoying full benefit of efficient fuel consumption. They use their heat preservation utensils to enjoy their hot meals and drinks for a longer time of day. They are glad and they celebrate even in the time of displacement.